This is Professor Michael Smith. When we left off, we had just finished our first two cards. As you can see right here, based on this mock-up right here, here's the image of it. And these are based on cards used on the site from the Ringer. We're going to be working on our second card today, which is this feature hero card. And you can see it has a second class. This card, if you recall, both cards have card media and card body inside. And this one also has card media and card body, but all it has is the additional class card feature dash hero. And what's interesting is you can see that based on the way the CSS is written, if I remove that second class, it goes back to look like the base card. And if I add it to this one, card dash feature dash hero, that one now becomes a feature hero card. All right. This is part of a typical kind of system where you have these modifiers using descending selectors, where we're going to select card feature hero and then descend select into all the elements inside, like card media, card body, card title, etc. And when we're all done with this project, we'll have made up to 5 different cards. I'm showing you this kind of final version. This is another feature card. This is a primary card. This is a secondary card. So that's 3 other cards we'll build, as well as the main ones that have already built. This one right here, as well as this one. And then this is going to be a way of just laying out media. Those are technically built off of one of the main cards. You just now don't have any text included. So that's where we're headed. But for now, let's get started on building the feature card right here. So when we left off with our CSS and HTML, if you remember, we have a card. Whoops, I had this added already. 2 cards, right? And this sample layout. We're going to actually get rid of the image. We don't need the image as a reference anymore. So we'll save this, and if we return, you'll see that now we're looking at just the 2 cards themselves. And what we want to do is we're going to add card dash feature dash hero to the top one. And actually to the second one, we're going to add card dash main. Okay. And this way we can differentiate the 2 cards. And we're going to do a lot of organizing over the next few videos, but just for just to show this idea that we're going to be doing this. And so in our CSS, where we left off with our card layout, you can see that all cards are display flex, and initially we were having this explicit flex direction row. Well, we don't want our hero cards to be row, they're going to be column. So we're going to create card dash feature dash hero and make this flex direction column. All right. But we're also going to create above it dot card dash main and make it flex direction row and remove the default flex direction. All right, so the explicit part is saying main is row and hero is column. So if we see this and we save both the HTML with our 2 classes added, and we go over, you can already see that we've done our stacking. Now all the layout is off for this hero one, but you can see the explicit row is already changed, and that's on the right track. So moving on to card media, we're going to use our descending selector. So what I want you to think about is we have card dash main, and inside of card dash main, right here, we have card media and card body. So if I want to make changes to card media in the card main box, we're going to always start with card main and then put dot card dash media. All right. And we would do the same for card feature hero. So we always start at card dash main, card dash feature hero, and then go into card dash media, right? And so you can think I'm in the featured hero card, and then I space descend select to card media. And what we want to do is put the widths that are specific to each in their space. So width 30%, and this one is width 100%. All right, and if we save that, we go back, you can see this one looks like it's still supposed to, but you can see, oh, this one is now 100% across, but we need some more height. So where is our height coming from? Well, if you remember, card media has this padding top value, and as I increase it, we increase the height of the box because its default height is 0, and by adding padding we effectively are creating a vertical space. All right, by adding some padding. So this isn't going to work if they're both 22% because we need some more space. It looks good for this card, but for this card we need a lot more height. All right, so those two we have to also add. So the padding top belongs to this card main, and the padding top for this one is 75%. All right, and now that looks about the right size. Okay, but how do we get this text on top of the image? We're going to use absolute positioning. So as we move along, let's go to our next section. So here we have the main parts of the media box completed. The image is not going to change at all, but now we need to work on the body. Okay, so we need to do the same thing where we have this card dash main, all right, where you might imagine and in descend select into card dash body. All right, and inside of there we would want to have, what do you think, our width, which is 70% in the card main, but in this version, right, we would need text to go all the way across. So here it was only 70%, it was 30%, 70%. For this box it's 100% and 100%. Okay, so 100% and 100%. This area around here, this is made from some padding, and we'll get to that in just a moment. So we'd say card feature hero dot card dash body, and inside we're going to make its width 100%. So that's taking up the full space, so that's good. But we also want to do a bunch of other things. We want to fix it on top. So the way we fix it on top is using absolute positioning. So we'll say position absolute. So with this position absolute, we can have a look, and you'll see that right now it's positioned at the top left here. And so we're going to add some more properties. So we would, let's fix this up, add, we don't want to start at the top, we want to start at the bottom, 0, left, 0, and then we have a problem. It went all the way to the bottom of the page, and the problem is that the positioning system says, let's make this absolute position to the nearest, to the next relative positioned parent. And in the case of the document, that's the entire body of the page. All right, so we don't even see that. It's by default the entire body of the page. So that means we need to add a value to the card, and we're going to have to say position relative for all cards, so that with this absolute here position, you can say, okay, now we're on the right track. The text is on top of it. It's very hard to read, so we have a lot of typography to work on. But you can see we're on the right track. All right. And so with a few more fixes to the card body, so remember we have the card body here that we're working on. All right, we are going to actually not put it exactly at 0 because you can see there's a little bit of space, so we're going to position it 1.2 rem up. All right, and we're going to add some padding around the entire thing. So padding 3 rem. All right, and you can see there's some spacing around now. And the last thing is you can see how the items are positioned vertically here from left to right. And you can see these are all positioned and taking up space. They're starting at the start. And so the thing to remember is we get to take advantage of the fact that this card body by default is displayed flex. And so since it's a parent and it has a that means this card body can use flex positioning systems along the cross axis because the column is the main axis, and along the cross axis we can say align items center. All right, and now all items are along, so this is the main axis, but along the cross axis we can use the align items container property and say have them centered. And so we're on our way. So I think that's all we need to do to the body itself, but let's start working on the card category, which is going to need some work. So we're going to select just the card feature. Since all the other cards I think basically use card category the way that these defaults are, we're not going to make a separate selector of card dash main. So we'll say card dash category, right? And you can see that in the model, the text is now a really light gray and the background is orange versus the color, the type is orange and there's nothing in the background. So we're going to set a background color, right, of the D8 6 primary color that I've set, and set the color to our light gray, which is EE. I think there was 3's earlier. All right, and if you look, you can see now that's starting to happen. Okay, now we need to put some padding around it as well. So around the entire box we want to have padding, not just the top of, I think I have here 0.5 REM, and you can see there's the portraits looks correct about now. And we're going to make it a slightly bigger font, 1.2 REM. All right, and we're getting through it. We only have 1, 2, 3 more sets of elements to deal with, so let's get through them. In the title, you can see that we're using, we'll say card dash feature hero, descend select into card title. All right, and we know that the color is let's have a look, is a nice white or the really light gray. So we want the color to be that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we need the text to all be uppercase. All right, it's going to be slightly bigger text, so we're going to change the font size to 2.7 REM. We're going to make the line height a little bit bigger to 3 REM. And we're going to have the text align in the center. All right, and you can see we're getting there on our way. All right, we're going to add a little bit of padding at the top and bottom of that particular title. And so we'll have 1.2 rem, 0 left and right, and 1.2 rem on the bottom. I think we could have done that easily. Yep, and we're adding some space. Okay. And one of the things you'll note is the slug text is not visible. So there's no preview of the text of the article, which was called the slug. So we have to deal with that next and actually just get rid of it. So how do we deal with that? What we can do is we can select a card, feature hero dot card slug and simply say display none. And you can see display none removes it even though it is technically still there. All right, the slug is there and the text is there, but it's no longer visible or even selectable in the DOM. So we're almost there. We just have a little bit more work on the byline at the bottom. So within the byline, we make a few changes. And in fact, we're going to leave the byline font sizing the same and the text transform the same. But what we're going to do is we're just going to change the author color. So we'll say .card feature hero .card author. And we'll say the color is our light gray, which is the 6 E's. And then the border to the right, we're going to change its color to also the light gray. All right. So you can see this border has now changed its color right there. And then finally, we need to just change the date as well to that light gray. So we'd say card feature hero dash card date. And we'll just say the color is also that light gray. All right. And it looks almost done. It looks very close, except for where is this nice dark background coming from in order to help the text stand out and be much more readable. Well, this uses, if we inspect the card itself, the media box, it uses this special background right here, all right, that uses a linear gradient function, which because it's not always, all browsers don't use the linear gradient function, it has this prefixer to help it with to make sure it works within this particular browser. But if it's gone, you can see it's off, and so all I have to do is within the card feature hero .card media, I'm just going to copy and paste it right here. All right, and I'll leave this up so you should pause the video and type this out, and I'll show you a place you can find it. So if we go back to card feature card media right here and add this background color and this function, we save it, and you can see, oops, I made a mistake, not background color, just background. Let's see, we're making a little bit of a mistake, and we will solve it. Oh, there's an extra semicolon. Since we are trying to show this background color, we need to position the image to the background. So if we look also at our model, all right, the image itself is put in the z-index of -1. So this is a change to the card image in general that needs to be made. So just by adding the z-index of -1, we save, and we're done. Nope. Yes, we are done. And just like the model, we can remove card feature hero, and we can add it to here, card feature dash hero, and then add, whoops, card dash main. And there you go.